All right, everybody. So we are live. Me and Lauren just did a practice run, but if you're just joining in, thank you. That's where I thought I was messing up. Like this, something doesn't seem right here. But yeah. So what's up, everybody? We got Lorne here, our political director, coordinator. Wanted to get him on to explain kind of what he's been doing, and then also start giving us instruction on how the government works. Which, if we understand how that works, then we understand when Lauren comes up to meetings and understand what he's talking about. So. Yeah, Lauren.
Cool. Hey everyone. My name is Lorne Bowling, and I'm the political coordinator for Local 29. If you ever have any questions or anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. My card's in the hall, and I'm always happy to chat. But generally speaking, Paul and I kind of just wanted to talk about just how a bill becomes a law in pretty simple terms in Oregon and Washington. So kind of how this starts is you'll start in the interim period, which is the period where you're not in legislative sessions. You can't legally make laws or change laws during that time. And that's typically when you'll go and talk to a legislator about an issue that you have or an idea that you have and want to make it become a law or change a law. So then once you get past that interim session and you've gotten the permission to draft a legislation from the legislator, you'll go into kind of the session period or the pre-session, and that's when you can file a bill or kind of just get everything started.
So like when you write a bill, Lauren, is it kind of like, is there like a form that like I guess a template that you have to fill out, or is it just basically you do an abstract of what you think or whatever?
So there is a form on the back end. If you're a lobbyist or if you're working outside, you typically don't fill that out.
Gotcha.
The staffers for the politicians will fill all that out.
Okay.
What it pretty much boils down to is it's a problem statement and a solution statement.
Gotcha.
So you'll say, this is a problem and this is how I want to fix it.
Gotcha.
And then you submit that to the lawyers in Salem, and then they write the actual legalese of
ORS.
Yeah, ORS, whatever.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's how you kind of get that. So, So thankfully we don't have to actually write our own laws.
Yeah, that ironworkers might have trouble with that, but hey.
It's complicated, even if you are an attorney.
Yes.
Yeah, so once you get your legislation drafted and then introduced into the session, what happens is the speaker or the Senate president, depending on what chamber you start in, will assign it to a committee. And a committee is really where you start kind of the lobbying and political process. So what the job of a lobbyist is to work the committee or to work the legislators when you get to the floor. But what that looks like is you have to have a public hearing on the bill first, and that's just kind of an area to express I think this is a good idea because of these reasons, or I think this is a bad idea and it's going to hurt our members.
Is that kind of what Minna did a few weeks ago? Okay.
Exactly, yeah. Okay. So you'll go up and testify and say, I like this because of these reasons. And then once you have that public hearing, that means you can be scheduled for a work session or an executive session in Washington. And that's where you actually get to vote, or the people on the committee actually get to vote to pass that bill to the floor for a full vote of the chamber.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
The other thing that's important to note too is when you're in committee, that's your chance to amend a bill, so you can change it. You can have positive amendments or amendments that kind of hurt what you're working on.
Okay.
So any committee member can have that amendment drafted.
So that has to definitely be strategic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously. Okay.
So that's a lot of kind of where the lobbyists sort of work.
Yes.
And you can kind of really screw people.
On
that. So once you get out of that, hopefully you get out of your work session and they'll vote you to the floor with a do pass recommendation.
Okay.
If you don't get out of committee, you obviously don't get that recommendation.
Okay.
It's very helpful to have a bipartisan or Republican and Democrat supported bill, but it doesn't always matter.
Yeah.
Especially in Oregon where we have majorities.
Yeah.
So once you get to the floor, that's when the whole chamber will vote on your bill.
Okay.
People can speak on the floor about the bill. Again, the senator or the representative carrying the bill will say, I like this is a great idea, and here's why it helps people.
Okay.
Pretty common practice. It's kind of where the theatrics of politics takes place.
So obviously then the other people who disagree with it obviously get their opportunities. Okay.
Yeah, so these can get really long. I mean, right now we're having hour debates on a bill on the floor.
Okay.
It's just really.
So it's like I've watched something like that in CNET or something. It can be. I mean, these dudes are. I mean, dude. I mean, it gets.
It gets ugly on the floor sometimes.
Yeah.
But assuming everything goes well, your bill will pass out, and then you'll go to the other chamber, and then the same process happens all over again. So the president or the speaker will assign the bill to a committee, and then you go through the committee process again. So public hearing, work session, and then ideally you'll go to the governor's desk for signature and then actual passage into law.
So kind of just like that, like is there a typical time frame, Lauren, that process happens?
Yeah, so typically there's chamber deadlines. So in Oregon, the first chamber deadline is in March. In Washington, it's February, basically 2 months out.
Okay.
So at that point, if your bill is not scheduled for a work session, it's dead.
Okay.
So you either have to, there's a lot of things you can do to put that into a different committee where there's no deadline, like joint.
Also, some committees don't have a deadline.
Yeah, some committees don't have deadlines.
Gotcha.
It gets really complicated.
Okay. Yeah.
Like rules committee is a good example of where you can put a bill and just kind of work
Gotcha.
it. Gives you more time.
Gotcha.
Rules committee is kind of where leadership can play.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then also like Ways and Means, so the budget, they don't have a deadline as well.
Yeah.
But they kind of decide when the session ends.
Gotcha. Okay. So like with that, so some of the research I was just reading on how it works is like there's like thousands of bills that are actually introduced, but they're only like past like 800 maybe. Is that kind of, can you talk about a little?
Yeah,
that?
that's pretty common. I mean, we don't have bill limits in Oregon, which is not great.
Okay.
Makes our life just a lot harder.
So yeah, you gotta weed through all the stuff and then get to the real meat of it, right?
I think we had somewhere around 4,400-ish bills this
Wow.
session. So
Okay.
we read through all of those
Wow.
before session starts. And we'll go mark like this will hurt us, this will help us.
So yeah, I mean, so you obviously have to go through those just to see what could possibly affect us. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I think my bill tracker was like 150-ish bills.
Really?
Out of 400 or 4,000.
So like how many pages is a typical, like, is it all depend?
Depends.
Okay.
1 to like 300 plus on
Really?
some of them.
Could be a novel.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're very, very long and legalese.
Yeah.
It's not fun to read through those.
Yeah, I bet.
That's kind of the basic structure. And then I don't know if you want to.
Yeah. So yeah, Lauren. So like the International posted a few weeks ago about building stuff in America and stuff. Can you kind of talk about what you were doing there?
Yeah. So if people aren't already aware, there's federal requirements for Buy America. So we're trying to incentivize manufacturing here. We want domestic American jobs.
Because obviously through COVID, our supply chain was just affected.
Yeah, exactly. And then also national security,
Yeah,
chips, and everything else.
Yes.
So we're working here with the Blue Green Alliance, which is it's Sierra Club and the Steelworkers, and they're combining, and they kind of help us bridge labor and environmental issues.
Okay.
So we have our own Buy America in Oregon, and that's what we're working on right now. So if for steel and iron in Oregon, the agencies will have to buy American steel first unless it increases the project cost by 25% or more.
Okay.
So
Wow.
so we were able to secure bipartisan support for the bill. We moved out of committee with a bipartisan vote, and now we're in Ways and Means. So they have to figure out how this will affect the budget and how this might affect construction projects and costs to the state.
Okay. So that could get that can only imagine the stuff they got to think about with that. I mean, that's.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about this.
Okay.
It is the Speaker of the House
It makes
bill.
sense, right?
It does. It
Yeah.
does.
Okay.
I mean, just domestic
Yeah.
manufacturing. Let's have American jobs.
Jobs.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah, good policy. We should be hopefully moving forward with that here pretty soon.
Okay.
But yeah, a good coalition of labor and environmental groups.
Nice. And so, like, the other thing I wanted to talk about is the apprenticeship utilization, the kind of thing you and Shane have been working on. So, can you talk a little bit on that?
Yeah, so we had our own legislation, which is Senate Bill 850. Unfortunately, that has died, and that's actually a pretty common process for how politics works.
Okay.
Typically, you'll have a couple bills that have similar objectives.
Okay.
And just kind of depending on how much opposition a bill gets. And we were kind of the
Yeah.
child. We
Yes,
got
yeah.
attacked for months on this.
I bet.
So we were able to kind of get another bill through that helps us.
Okay.
So that would be a 15% apprentice utilization requirement on public projects, which is huge.
Yes.
So all public
Yes.
projects gets rid of that ODOT exemption from using apprentices, which is a huge
Yes.
potential for our market share.
Yes.
So that passed out of committee. It's now in Ways and Means.
Okay.
So they kind of have to figure out, what does this cost the state? And what's the cost benefit?
Gotcha.
I mean,
Okay.
I think for us it's pretty clear.
Yes,
Careers,
yeah.
jobs, and
So yeah, we just need to get out on the streets and obviously talk to everybody about what
Yes.
this is.
Yes.
So they understand it. Like we're trying to help other people. Yes.
Yeah, and we will be coming to our apprentice classes to say like, hey, we'd like you to help us reach out, talk to these legislators, let them know that apprenticeship is important.
Yeah.
It helps you feed your family.
Yes.
And it's giving you a career.
Yeah. And so like we we all know that, we are the prevailing wage, and when we go to a job, everybody who does go to a prevailing wage job is making our wage. But the thing is, a lot of people don't realize is like everything is in our package, our retirement, all that stuff, our health insurance. When, let's just say, an unrepresented contractor, it's expected for a 20-year-old kid to get this lump sum of money, and then they're supposed to go distribute it into their retirement account and pay insurance and stuff. So just like as a 20-year-old kid, that's not what you're thinking about.
Not at all.
So it just makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, definitely hit the streets if you're able to, go to your local government, state government, reach out to Lorne, obviously, and how you can help or whatever. But with that, Lorne, is there kind of something that that you're working on, like something we can expect?
Yeah, I mean, I think the last thing to point out, and where members actually helped us and apprentices really helped in this one, there was an attack on prevailing wage in Oregon. And there was a Senate bill that was looking to say, if you're building affordable housing and there's childcare connected, then you shouldn't have to pay prevailing wage.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so they were saying so you're getting prevailing wage for the bottom half or the commercial aspect, but not for the residential. And they're saying, well, that's a win for workers because you're getting prevailing on some of it. I strongly disagree with that, and I think just fundamentally, getting paid $41 an hour to work on half a building and then $10 an hour on the top half is just not okay. Especially when it's public dollars. When that's our tax dollars funding this, you should be paying people right.
Exactly.
So we were able to get that bill killed. We had apprentice classes send emails to their legislators.
Okay.
That actually plays a huge part. It may not feel like it. You may not get a response, but they do take track of that, and that really helps us when we go and say, look, this is important to members. Look how many emails you're getting.
Okay. Is there like anything that you could, like the members, that people that may be listening, that we could do to help other? I mean, like go to our city council meetings, or other, maybe they're not able to go volunteer or whatever, but some of the things that they could do to help out with this.
I mean, I think really, if there's things in your community that you see, like projects going up that you think maybe working non-union, please let our organizers know. I mean, Paul's great, obviously. If there's anything that you see on the job site where you're concerned about safety, anything like that you think could be fixed through legislation, please come let us know. We are here to work for you, and we really need your help and your eyes and ears on the job site to let us know that if things are a problem.
Yeah, absolutely right, Lauren. If you're just driving to work or driving on your way home, you see a job that just kind of pops up, definitely let us know so we go check it out. That's how we start getting data and everything else to understand what's going on in our area, the market share, all that stuff. So, but yeah, Lauren, is there anything else, man? Just kind of, great information.
Really just, if you have questions, please reach out. We're a resource for you. We want to chat. We want to help you. We want to make sure you're informed and you understand where your money's going and what our jobs are and what we're doing for you. So please just reach out and let us know how we can help.
Awesome. With that being said, have a great day and be safe.